Have you ever been challenged by God to do something audacious, crazy? When you think about it, you start sweating. You go, no, really, God? But the more you pray about it, He confirms it and He says, yes, I want you to jump all in on what I've asked you to do. Well, this was the feeling that Denise and I had over 10 years ago when He asked us to start this church. We've seen nothing short of the miraculous happening the last 10 years. Countless salvations, baptisms, marriage restored, children and teenagers saved, miracle after miracle. This was a step of faith we took. God has honored it, but I believe this is just the beginning. And so here we are after year 10, and God's inviting us into the next step of faith. And that's what All In is all about. We want to bring you into this challenge. And All In, really, to me, is all about opportunity. It's an opportunity for greater clarity and greater generosity from us who call Love Church our home. I'd like to share with you from 1 Samuel 14 because I want to bring you into my world, how I feel. And I feel like Jonathan in this story. Many of you have read it, and 1 Samuel 14 tells a story of King Saul and his son Jonathan, and they're leading 3,000 troops, and they go from 3,000 troops to 600. And Jonathan, though, gets so sick of being stagnant and complacent, he says, man, we got to go fight the Philistines. And he looks over to his armor bearer and he says, hey man, God could show up whether we have many or a few to win this battle. He's like, hey man, you with me? And the armor bearer looks back to him in verse 7 and says something just like this. He says, do what you think is best. I'm with you, whatever you decide. So not only have I seen me in that text as Jonathan that God gives this challenge to go all in and to fight the enemy. In our city, we see all kinds of enemy activity, depression, divorce, teenage suicide. And here God has given us this ground right next to a public high school. And He says, man, I've called you to build this building, one of many locations, to bring salvation and sanctification, self-feeding all throughout this city. This is our chance, church. What I'm asking you to do is be armor bearers. Your challenge is going to be to pray and obey. You see, the armor bearer really believed that Jonathan was hearing from God and was going to take this step of faith. And the armor bearer was there to follow him. As Christians, now is our time. We are on the bridge. God's asking us to take this jump, this step of faith. The question is, will you and I say yes to the Lord and see Him move miraculously? Will you join us as we go all in?